Top Pin Podcast. Top Pin Podcast. We're back. It's to the Top Bins Podcast. I'm very excited to have y'all here. I am your host, Lee Rodriguez. Lots of things have happened. So, obviously, from the first episode, we talked about Super League and how big of a deal this was. We went straight into it. That was obviously the biggest thing talking about in the sport of the beautiful game. But we got more to talk about now. Obviously, we can talk about many other subjects like how Girona right now is leading La Liga, which is truly incredible. It's an incredible achievement, and the complications it would do to City Football Group for a team like Girona to win the La Liga uh, campaign this year, which is a possibility. It's truly remarkable. Um, Lots of things is going on. It's just truly an amazing season for the sport. Obviously, Italy, Inter's dominating. We all knew that. Inter's miles better than everybody else. Um, I guess that storyline for Italy is you could talk about Bologna and how they're just so ridiculously good right now, and it's just truly awesome to see how they could continuously week after week just keep doing the unthinkable, and that unthinkable right now is that they could possibly qualify for Europe. They're a top four team right now in Italy. It truly is a remarkable situation in Italy. Germany, another grand example. Leverkusen right now is just dominating. They haven't lost. Stuttgart's in the race. A very good team right now, Stuttgart. A very big German club as well. A lot of people who don't really follow the Bundesliga. Has a lot of history in the Bundesliga, and they've won the title. I believe in 2006, 2007, around there, they've won the title. This is a big club for German football, and it's kind of like they're coming back, and it's awesome for them. A lot of great players has come through that club. Sammy Khedira, Antonio Rudiger. I mean, the list goes on. There's a big list in that. But I think the more exciting league right now is the EPL, is the English Premier League right now, because we got teams like United and Chelsea struggling horribly. They look really bad. They look like teams that really don't even belong in European competitions. And then you got teams like Aston Villa. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Just absolutely, positively been absolutely spectacular. You got teams like Aston Villa. You got teams like Brighton, West Ham, Tottenham, all doing really well. Tottenham, nobody expected Tottenham to be this good because they just lost Harry Kane. And yet they are still in the hunt. It's truly remarkable, guys. You have to realize how incredible this is for English football. And also the more exciting thing, guys, is we have a title race. It's wide open. There's four teams that could win the trophy. It's truly remarkable. I mean, whatever you want to say. Obviously we all still think City could win it, and honestly, City still could win it. There's no questions. There's no doubts. City are just too powerful. They are going back on a run. They went on like a 4-game winless streak, and now that game against Everton was huge for them. It was absolutely positively huge for them because Everton was coming in good form. They were playing good football. Everton took the goal first, took the lead by a beautiful goal from former NYCFC number one draft pick Jack Harrison scoring that goal. Shout out to Jack Harrison and Mumsy. We love her. Um, but it's just truly remarkable what's going on here with the league. I mean, the fact that City's in fourth is just shows you how insane this Premier League season has been so far. And we're getting towards the halfway point of the season. I believe it'll be one more week, and then we're very close to the halfway point. This is when you really figure out who are title contenders and who are legit. And I think we're starting to separate ourselves from the pack. I think the middle of the table is kind of sad. I think Chelsea will be in the middle of the pack. I don't think they're gonna get out of that middle spot because they're just too inconsistent. Um, they won against Crystal Palace, which was huge for them, but there's still issues to remain for Chelsea. West Ham is still there, United's still there, Brighton, Newcastle. There's so many good teams now, and this is a problem for clubs like Chelsea, clubs like Crystal Palace, who are doing better. You have teams like Everton now climbing up, and if it wasn't for that 10-point deduction, Everton would be as high as ninth. You got Bournemouth, who's very dangerous. You got Fulham, that is starting to catch a little steam. The Premier League is getting very interesting. You got Luton, who we thought they were going to go straight down, winning a bunch of games now, and they're for real. They are for real. They're a tough team, and they look like a true contender to get out and stay. I truly believe it. They're playing good football right now. If they can keep it up as a moment is with the momentum is a different story. Now you got teams like Sheffield United, who's going to start getting better. Chris Wilder is a tremendous coach, a tremendous manager. I'm sorry. He is a tremendous manager. He's done it before. He got this team in Europe in Europe at one point. Sheffield United are definitely capable of succeeding under Chris Wilder. He's not a guy that will demand money. What he will demand is that these players play as their style and his style, which is physical brawling style as attacking football, which I really truly love. I think Chris Wilder is an absolute genius of a manager. I think he works wonders in the Premier League, and you give him a decent middle of the table team, they'll be consistent because he demands a lot. And imagine Sheffield United's a club that does not spend money. They do not. They're like Luton. They stick with British players or whatever they can get their hands on, and it works. Now, Sheffield United dug themselves a deep hole, but they have been playing consistently better. They've gotten results against Aston Villa that was quite impressive. I mean, they went to Villa and they got a result. They are going to be in the hunt. They gave Newcastle a scare. I mean, this is a tough team. This is no longer the pushovers that they had. This is a tough team. Burnley's, once in a while can surprise you. I mean, Vincent Company is a decent manager. I think it's tough because the Premier League is if you don't spend money, you really will be left behind. And you can ask a lot of these clubs who don't particularly spend the money on this scenario that they don't last very long. Bournemouth don't really particularly spend the money that well, but they did in the past and they kept the good players and it's working. Also, the fact it helps to have a striker like Dominic Solanke, who's playing tremendously. I'm a huge fan of Dominic Solanke. I think he's a very good Premier League striker, and I honestly believe he will move out of that club next season, and he truly deserves it. I think he should be playing for a club like Brighton or a Tottenham or anywhere else that needs a striker. He's brilliant. He's proven so far this season that he's legit. He has great skills. He has a great skill set. He's very good. He's very good at making the right runs to making the passes or the shots. Good in the air. I mean, he's a very dangerous player. I really like him, and I think Bournemouth is thriving under Andoni Iraola as well. There's a lot of good teams in the Premier League this season. This is probably one of the best Premier League seasons we're getting so far in a while. That it's closer. I mean, but the fact of the matter is still, guys, there's four teams now in the race. You have Liverpool, who's now in first, Arsenal at second, Villa in third, and Manchester City at four. Now, everybody's going to say, where the fuck is Aston Villa in the race? We'll talk about them in a little bit, but they are for real in the race. They're consistent. Their roster's consistent. We'll talk about them later, but Liverpool, I think, seems to me the clear cut favorite to compete with Manchester City. And a lot of people are going to say, why not Arsenal? Arsenal were in second place. They blew it. Arsenal mentally are just not there yet. I think mentally they're not championship level yet. I also think their team is not good enough yet. I think if Arsenal finally gets that striker that they've so desperately needed, then it's a different story. Then they could compete with Manchester City because Manchester City has the striker. We all know that. Erling Haaland is the guy. Why is Aston Villa competing? Well, they have a good striker. They have Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins has been tremendous for Villa. But Villa also has the midfield and the defense that is effective. Now the issue is if guys like Pau Torres and Diego Carlos can't play, their back line is very vulnerable. I love Isri Konza. I think he's a tremendous defender. But the problem is he needs more help. You got Clement Lenglet, who I'm not particularly very excited about. I think he's a decent defender, but Villa needs help more in the back, and they need to add a little more crunch in that midfield and attack. But Villa is competing because they have a great quality striker. Liverpool, they have a bunch of guys who could score goals. I mean, you got Luis Diaz, you got Diogo Jota, you have Mohamed Salah, you have Darwin Nunez. The list goes on. Dominic Supasai. Uh, the list goes on. Cody Gakpo. I mean, this Liverpool team has guys that could score goals, be consistent. Darwin Nunez still has to blossom as a striker for that team, and I think he will because he's shown his quality. Like he's not Erling Haaland, but he is quality. He shows quality in his game, and if you see him with Uruguay, with a lot less than he has at Liverpool, he clearly could succeed as the main number 9 striker. I just think that Liverpool's style is different than per se Uruguay's, but the coach is not that different. I mean, Jurgen Klopp's style is very similar to Marcelo Bielsa, so I think they just have to. He just has to adjust, and Darwin Nunez will get going, and that's why Liverpool is contending for the title. They also fixed their biggest issue, their age, especially in the midfield. They were old in the midfield. They let a lot of those old parts go. They brought in new young parts, and it's working. It's a young football's a young man's game right now. So if you can run, you can be physical, you can be athletic, you're set. And especially in EPL, where those guys are just the most freakiest athletes, well trained, well oiled machines as they are. It just shows that you need a quality striker to add this roster. City has it, Liverpool has it, Villa has it. Arsenal don't got it. Now, let's not discredit Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is a decent player. He's a good player. You would want to have a Gabriel Jesus on your roster. Now, will Gabriel Jesus give you 15 to 20 goals a season? He hasn't really proved it since he left City. He had some moments in Arsenal in the first couple of few months of his start at Arsenal. He looked like the guy that could definitely start bursting out goals. But his biggest issue is he's injury prone. He's prone to diving. He's a, as defenders would say, he's a son of a bitch. He's a son of a bitch to handle because you just feel like he's going to dive and get a penalty. And that's a bit of a flaw as well as a forward. If you're too dependent on that, then it just shows you're not quality. And to be fair, Gabriel Jesus is not the best finisher. Arsenal needs to find an all-out number. If Arsenal could somehow find that number nine, like an Ivan Tony, or Dusan Vlahovic, or 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 Victor Osimhen, if they even have the money, then Arsenal will be 110% competing for the title and running away with it. Because on paper, their midfield is very competitive, the cities. Their defense is shaky, but if they have Gabriel and Saliba, and once they bring in Timber, then they have a very quality back line. Their goalkeeping situation is very good. They have two number ones, so it's like it's the most unique situation in Europe. You have two goalies that can easily be starting goalkeepers in any club in Europe, and they they have a coach that, yes, he's shown a lot of great moments for Arsenal. He's proven to be a tremendously good manager, but I feel like his age and his experience as a manager is still not there yet. He's still immature. And for Arsenal, I think that will be their downfall. I think they need to be patient. Fans are not going to be patient. They want that trophy and they feel like they have it very close. And to be fair, they do. It is pretty close. The biggest issue is you need more. This season, you're pretty darn close, but you're not there yet. You need more. And I don't know if that's enough to win a title in the EPL, especially when you have a team like Manchester City, who literally has all the attacking options, they have all the midfield options. Their defense is extremely good, and they have a good goalkeeper. City will eventually get it together, and they will win out games that you. They'll go on this long 15 to 20 win run. Teams like Arsenal and Liverpool think they have the title wrapped up, but then they start dropping points, and then they're in trouble. I mean, City doesn't have to worry about the African Cup of Nations, and the Asian Cup worries. Liverpool has a few players they're gonna have to worry about in that both competitions. Aston Villa has issues as well. Uh, Manchester City doesn't have that issue. Arsenal, I believe they do. That's an issue. That is a big issue. You need to build the team in the summer and in January. I feel like Arsenal feels that they should get some recruitment. Arteta has not been. He's been pretty vocal about it. He's been vocal about making signings this January because he feels if we don't win the title now, we'll never win the title. And they're pretty darn close right now. City's vulnerable. Now, you don't want City to come back and start in this run and lose the title. Arsenal remembered that. They made that mistake. And Arsenal is an aggressive team in the market. They've done it in the summer. They've done it in January last year. They went out and got Trossard. They 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 will spend the cash to bring in players. They brought in Jorginho and they brought in Trossard last January. There's no reason why they can't spend the money this January, and I feel like they know it. I think they know they need. Well, a lot of fans are clamoring for a striker, including myself. Problem is, there's not really that much options for a striker in January. I mean, Napoli's not going to let go of Osimhen. He's about to sign a big contract. Juve, you may argue for Vlahovic, but the problem is it would be very tough because Juve doesn't want to sell him, and they're in the hunt for the Scudetto. Ivan Tony is the more exciting prospect, but why would Brentford want to sell him? They'll get him back and they'll keep him around, and then they'll sell him for even bigger wages next summer, for bigger fee next summer. So Arsenal are a bit of a predicament. So I kind of understand why they're just like we need defenders, and they do. because Timber is not back yet. We don't know when he will be back. And their center defending situation is a bit of a concern. And also, I do think they need a left back. Alexander Zinchenko, you gotta love him sometimes. He's a good dude. He's just not a left back. He's a midfielder. You can totally see it. He's not comfortable playing in the left. And with the Premier League, with all these speedy wingers, it's a problem. Zinchenko's not the quickest. So it really, you need to start thinking about bringing in a proper left back. You have a solid right back. You need a solid left back. You need somebody to compete and to let Zinchenko drift into the midfield. Because then you have Zinchenko in the midfield, and he's a solid option for when Thomas Partey goes to play for Ghana for the African Cup of Nations. It's not a bad option to have. And I'm be curious to see what they do. But I do think Arsenal will be aggressive in the transfer market in January. The EPL race is very close, so they're going to think we need to take advantage. Now, I'm not sure if Liverpool will do anything. They probably should. I'm not sure if they will. Aston Villa definitely will spend money in the market in January. They feel like they are there. They could compete for the title. And they should feel that way. If you're gone this far and you're still in the top four, you need to consistently build on pushing as far as you can go. And well as Aston Villa has played and Unai Emery, what he's done is a truly amazing job. They need more players. They need more depth. They need a lot of those starting players to get some rest. And those European games are going to start stuffing up. Those FA Cup games are going to start stuffing up. And they got EPL games coming up. More important EPL games. They went through the tough stretch already. They breezed through the tough stretch. Now they're kind of limping because they've went through a lot in that tough stretch. So they need to, add more to add more punch, especially in the back. I think the back is a big issue for them, and they will, and I have a feeling they will look into defense. I definitely think Clement Lenglet will definitely not be there for long. I honestly believe that he will be gone by this. I truly believe he'll be gone this January. I mean, there's rumors that Aston Villa would send him back to Barcelona, and Barcelona would send him to AC Milan, which would be a bad move for AC Milan. But I also think that Aston Villa would need to look for a center defender. Tyrone Mings is getting another surgery, so we're not sure if he'll be back next this season, even next season at this point. So you need more. You need more punch in the back, and they still have guys like like Colin Chambers, who's don't really play, and you don't really want him there anyway. They need more, and I have a feeling they will get more aggressive in the transfer market. But it's wide open, guys. This title race is wide open. The European spots are wide open. The Even the relegation battles wide open. I thought it was going to be pretty set. There's a bunch of teams that can still get relegated. It's truly remarkable. This is what makes this season great. But one team I want to talk about, particularly in the EPL, we were lingering into this, is Aston Villa, the surprise package. A team that's now in third, 2 points behind for first place. Um, what can we say about Aston Villa? Wow, 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 wow. They have been awesome. Um, but as a guy who's watches Aston Villa very closely for a long time, um, I'll tell you one thing, guys. This is not a surprise that they have gotten this far in the season and they've gotten this good. Their recruitment has been excellent. I mean, yes, when their first season coming back from the championship and getting promoted was brutal. I mean, they spent way too much money. They spent like almost 200 million euros on players because granted, Aston Villa is a big club. They have a club with a lot of history in this sport. They are European champions. This is a club that has amazing history, and they want to keep it that way. And they see that teams like Tottenham, Everton, they're still in it. They're still in the race. They're still in the top, the EPL European races. They feel like they should be amongst that elite, and they should feel that way. And they've done. They have been absolutely tremendous. They've recruited really well. I mean, the first big recruitment after the season after the after they nearly got relegated that season was they went out and got Emiliano Martinez, which has turned out to be a game changing decision for this club, for that club. Um, it's truly remarkable. Uh, Starting with the goalie, you got a world class goalie. You can argue he's probably the best goalie in the world. He proved it in the World Cup. He's proved it a lot with Aston Villa. He is tremendous. He is a really darn good goalkeeper. You have him. Then you went out and get Ollie Watkins, and Ollie Watkins has been pretty damn good. He started slow. He had moments last that first season. He scored a hat trick against Arsenal, uh, or two goals against Arsenal. He scored a hat trick against Liverpool. I mean, he showed moments where he can be brilliant, and a lot of fans started seeing that Ollie Watkins was that guy. Uh, the biggest thing is that Aston Villa has gotten is they recruited very well. They brought in good players, but I think the game changing decision for Aston Villa was to hire Unai Emery, because Unai Emery, a lot of people remember Unai Emery from his time at Arsenal and PSG, which they both were. You can argue both were not failures, but disappointments. He didn't win any major silverware other than the league title with PSG. And to be fair, his PSG team was limping. They didn't particularly do that great. He won one league title with PSG. He was supposed to be taking his team to the Champions League. He was a cup coach. You know, he's a guy that's always do well in cup runs. He didn't do that with Arsenal or with PSG. So you could say it was a failure, but then you start seeing the real Unai Emery at Villarreal building a team the way he wants this team to play, and you start seeing that more. You start seeing that more with his style. The team start playing the style that he wanted, and you see it. And Villarreal went to the semifinals of the Champions League. Were really close to getting to the final. They gave Liverpool a scare that year, and then after that, they had a good run. I mean, the year before, prior to that big Champions League run, they won the Europa League. So I mean, the guy's a genius. When you let him work and you let him build the team that he wants, and there's no pressure, the guy's a genius. He works brilliantly. It's working at Villa. I mean, he brought in a bunch of good players. He brought in guys like Camara. He brought in guys like Leon Bailey. Guys like Diarra, Pau Torres, Diego Carlos, Alex Moreno. The list goes on. I mean, he's done a remarkable job. He's made guys like Douglas Luiz the big centerpiece of the midfield. John McGinn, the guy that he likes, because Unai loves to got one two players that will hustle, and he's got guys like that with John McGinn. McGinn he's a nightmare, and he has that striker at Villarreal. He had Gerard Moreno, and this time he has Ollie Watkins. He's settled with Ollie Watkins, and it's been probably the best decision of for this club. You could tell this is an Unai Emery team, and it's working. And it also helps that Villa did the most intelligent thing ever. I mean, they were close to getting that former sporting director from Barcelona. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Uh, he is currently the sporting director of. Second, it used to be Deco, and now it was. I think it used to be Almeni. Mathieu Almeni. He used to be the sporting director. before, and they tried to go with him, but then they decided to go with the genius that is Monchi, who him and Unai Emery have worked in the past with a lot of success with Sevilla, and they were brilliant. They worked magic at Sevilla. That Sevilla team was magic. And he's doing it again with Aston Villa. Because Monchi's saying, all right, Unai, I know what you want. Unai knows what Monchi wants. Let's work together, put our minds. When you have it's very hard as a club to have a sporting director and a coach be on the same page and literally when it works together, it's magic. It's magic. But when it doesn't, it can be ugly. PSG is a great example. Many sporting directors they have let go because it didn't work out with the manager. I feel like this time they maybe got it with Luis Campos and Luis Enrique, but see how that goes. But Villa's got a great setup now. You definitely know in January they're going to bring in more, and they will bring more, and they will get better. But this Aston Villa team has been truly remarkable, and it's fun to watch. Now, do I think they're going to win the title? Probably not. They'll run out of gas, but they'll definitely be in the contention for the Champions League. And then the Conference League, and they're definitely the favorites. I don't see anybody beating them in that Conference League. No way. They're built so good in that roster. They're miles ahead. They're a Europa League team or borderline Champions League team. So I feel like right now Aston Villa would need more, but and I think they will because they know the plan's working. They're in the Champions League hunt. They're in the title. Like, let's be real. They're in the hunt, and they should feel like they should. They're playing like it, and they've been on nothing but great things at Villa. So awesome! Shout out to Unai Emery and Monchi for the job they've done. Tremendous job. Now let's get into our shores, the American shores, as MLS is now during its off season. Starting seeing a lot of signings coming in already. Starting, and if you're not sure, LAFC is about to lock up a deal with to bring in Hugo Lloris this winter. I think it's an interesting signing. Great goalkeeper, a historically great goalkeeper for France. He didn't win anything at Tottenham, but for France, he was a World Cup champion and nearly a two-time world champion. Um, France's captain for many years, played in a lot of big games. Great goalkeeper, coming into Major League Soccer to arguably one of the best rosters in Major League Soccer. It's a good move. But the big one, obviously, guys, is in South Beach right now. Miami's just building the super team right now. They went out and got Luis Suarez, and they're not done. They're going for Marcos Rojo. They're going for now Christian Medina from Boca Juniors. Both guys play for Boca. Great players. And they can easily walk into Major League Soccer and dominate. And now you add those guys with a Luis Suarez, with a Sergio Busquets, with a Jordi Alba, and a Lionel Messi. This team is loaded. And they're about to go hard now on Julian Greshel and fix that right back situation. It's absolutely tremendous. It really is. It's truly tremendous. And let's talk about the big signing this winter. Luis Suarez. He's a Miami player. We all knew this was going to happen. Probably since November, we all knew he was coming. I announced it many times on my Facebook page. But to say it again, yeah, he's coming. He's here. Um, what does that do for Miami? Their attack is literally ridiculous now because you now have Luis Suarez as the number 9, Messi on the right. You have Farias or Robert Taylor on the left. Midfield, you can have Benjamin Kramaski, Busquets. You add in a Christian Millina. You have to add that guy in there as well. That's a loaded midfield. The back line, Jordi Alba. You add in Marcos Rojo. That's ridiculous. Yeah, Kamar Miller will probably be the starter in that spot. And either Greshel or Yedlin. and Drake Calendar in goal. It's literally a ridiculous team. That's literally one of the best teams, if not the most dangerous team in Major League Soccer. And you can bet your freaking house that that team is going to win they're going to win the championship. I mean, they nearly, they literally walked through LA. They walked through the best teams in Major League Soccer and smashed them with that roster with Messi had. And a healthy Lionel Messi, by the way. A healthy Lionel Messi. Now you're gonna have now Leo Messi with Luis Suarez and that roster, and they're gonna get better. I mean, the impact of the league is just truly insane at this point. I mean, you're bringing in Luis Suarez. You have Luis Suarez with Messi. It's just insane. Everybody's want to go to Miami and play for Miami. That's the thing, which is great, but kind of unfair. And I think this will impact. I think it will impact the league in a negative, not in a positive, because Don Garber doesn't seem to want to change the rules. He still wants the three DP spot. I don't understand it. Uh, Either you do four or don't do it. I mean, he has a lot of issues right now as it is, but add the fourth DP and let these teams spend money. The New York Red Bulls are starting to spend money. They run out and get Emil Forsberg. Say what you want. Forsberg's a good player. And they're not done. They're going to spend more. They are going to go hard this summer. They're going to go hard this winter and this summer. They are going to spend money. Like, be aware that they are going to spend money this winter and this summer. They are not okay with let's keep this playoff streak alive. No, they know Miami's coming. LAFC, if they get Hugo Lloris, they're coming. Columbus, they're the defending champs. Philly, they'll come back. New England, now they have Caleb Porter, they're going to be good. That's five teams already. They need to go back. And don't forget FC Cincinnati, guys. They ain't done. They're going to be just as good next season. They're going hard. They're not happy that they lost that game against Columbus in the final, in the Eastern Conference final. They're not happy. They're gonna go hard. They are in there. They're in the cusp. They are that good. Cincinnati are they're good. Atlanta is an interesting team. We don't know where Amada will go, but I have a feeling Amada won't be there too long. And that's really truly it. I don't see anywhere else where where the Red Bulls have to spend money, and the league knows. Now the Western Conference, I'm interested because Seattle's going very aggressive. They're going after Lanús's Pedro de la Vega, who's a great player, a very young, dynamic playmaker, which they're going to need because they're losing Nicolas Loedo, who's another player that's a free agent. I'm very curious to see where he'll end up, and it seems like he wants to stay in Major League Soccer. So I'm very curious on which team will go after Nicolas Loedo. But if Seattle does get a De La Vega, they're dangerous. LAFC is dangerous. The Galaxy, they're gonna have to spend money. Um, I think that's truly it. I mean, and other teams need to get better. Other teams need to get better, and they're gonna have to push. And I hope this is like an awakening for them to know that Luis Suarez is coming, Messi's coming, Busquets is here. Uh, all these guys are coming to Miami. It's time, guys. Time to spend the dough and start doing what Miami's doing. But yeah, guys, we have the first ever time this episode. We have fan questions. I'm very excited about this questions. I got two today, so this is great. One from Josh Thames. Shout out to Josh. He writes, "Are the New York Red Bulls going to sign Cristiano Ronaldo? The go? Oh, um, this is truly comical. Josh, I'm going to tell you straight up, no. Cristiano Ronaldo's not coming here. Cristiano Ronaldo is having a great time in Saudi Arabia. He is literally treated like royalty. And why would he want to come here? He's making his millions in Saudi Arabia. He is the face of that league. There's nobody that brings any sort of acknowledgement other than Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's proven it. He's got 53 goals this year. It's truly remarkable. And he's 38 years old, guys. Pretty awesome. And he's the king of that league. Everybody's gonna want to watch Al Nasser because Cristiano Ronaldo. I literally had to buy four jerseys for friends of Al Nasser number seven Cristiano Ronaldo, including myself. I have an Al Nasser jersey. So um it's no brainer. Cristiano ain't coming here. And why would he? I mean, yeah, he'll get more opportunity, but he's happy in Saudi Arabia and he's building something really special there. That league, I'm telling you guys, like a lot of people are talking about that league as the negative, and let's say what you want to do about the negative. But the league is I got the concept of what they're trying to do, and I understand that a lot of the smaller teams in Saudi Arabia are not going to be spending money, and hopefully they fix that scenario so they can make the whole league be like this. But like teams like Al Nasser, teams like Al Hilal, teams like Al Ittihad, Al Ali, um, Al Ittifaq is the one that's is struggling. I have a friend. Shout out to Rian, Rayan. I want to say his name correctly. He'll probably tell me. He's an Ettifaq fan, and he's teaching me about the league, and he's teaching me about the team, and he says like it is. They're not great, and they've spent a lot of money. They brought in Gerrard as a manager. They brought in Genie Wijnaldum. They brought in Jordan Henderson. They brought in Damari Gray. They are not doing too well. They haven't won in 2 months, so maybe that team needs to maybe spend a little more money to build something. Al Hilal and Al Nasser, they're they're the top two dogs. Al Ittihad is close, but I feel like they're like the locker room's kind of fucked because Nuno Espirito Santo did not end in good terms, and I guess Karim Benzema and him didn't look eye to eye. Marcelo Gallardo is a good coach, but he's just starting, and he's never really coached players like Gallard, like Benzema or Conte or Fabinho. He's never gotten close. And to be fair, Al Hilal is just miles better. They're just the best team in Saudi Arabia, running away with it. I mean, they are loaded. They spend their money on so much good players. I mean, Mitrovic, Milinkovic Savic, um, Ruben Neves, uh, Khalidou Koulibaly, and they haven't even used Neymar. Neymar had that knee injury, guys. Just wait till Neymar gets back. Hopefully, he gets back. The team is going to be ridiculous. They're going to run away with the Asian champion, in my opinion. We'll see how that goes. You still can't count out Al Nasser because Cristiano Ronaldo plays for that team, and they have a great roster as well. But if you have a Cristiano Ronaldo in a Champions League game, you want to pick Cristiano Ronaldo. The guy is Mr. Champions League for a reason, and now he's in the Asian Champions League. So I have a feeling he'll do the same thing that he did in the European Champions League, in the UEFA Champions League. The last question from Isabel Rodriguez. Shout out to Isabel. What is your shoe size? Oh, okay. Well, this is a very strange question, but yay, we're getting it. I'm an 8.5, 9. US. Um, yeah, I'm not particularly born with big feet. I mean, you can ask most soccer players; they're not really have big feet. But I mean, a lot of great players use my size. Messi's an 8.5. I can't complain. Rooney was a 9. Can't complain about that. A lot of great players use my shoe size. So I guess I'm in amongst the elite. But anyway, guys, Thank you very much for listening to this new episode of Top Bins Podcast. And I'm your host, Lee Rodriguez, guys. Have a good and happy new year. And we'll see you in 2024. Have a good new one, guys.